All right, let me take this off so I can explain what's going on. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late today. I can't go live on Twitch. I don't know what's going on. Twitch, I go live, and about 3 seconds after I go live, hang on, it just says it's been terminated due to repeated restarts. Okay. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I can do about it. I tried re-authenticating. We're not working. Houston. Is there a Houston out there? A John Houston who controls the internet? If so, we have a problem. I can't go live on Twitch right now. Which is fine, Houston, I guess. Out there, that means that if you're on YouTube, hello. If you're on Facebook, hello. If you're on Twitch, you're not hearing me say hello. Nothing I can do about that. Alright. Well, that's weird. First time I've ever run into this issue. I don't know what to do about it. Not much I can do. Other than, I guess, deal with it after the show. So let's go live. We will have an archive on Facebook and YouTube. And sorry, everyone on Twitch. After the fact, when you do stumble on this video and go, why did he not go live on Twitch today? I tried really hard, and it didn't work. So there we go. All right. Hello, welcome everyone to Court of the Rings on YouTube and Facebook for this Friday of December, the first weekend of December. I am Lotro's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I'll be with you for the next hour, hanging out, having some fun. I'm going to be doing some questing in Deepscrave. We've got a bunch of news we can talk about as well, so I think we actually do have a pretty full show here today, so that's going pretty good. Let me swap out so it's not in-game, because I've got some news in that for a while. So let me do that for a little bit. Just so I make sure that I'm not just standing there while you watch this person. Stand there for a while I do the news. How's it going, everybody? How are you? Yeah, Twitch not working this week, Steven, over on YouTube. I just couldn't get it going live. I got an unexpected and unknown error. It said, try re-authenticating, so I did, and that didn't work either, and it just kept on saying, repeated attempts. So no Twitch today. It's just going to be you, me, Facebook, and YouTube. So the three of us are going to be hanging out. How you doing? Any word on the recent problems with logging in following the recent update? Mark on YouTube asks. The answer to that is yes. Late yesterday afternoon, the technical operations team redeployed the game build to some of our worlds that, or not worlds, what's the right term? The right term is patch servers. To try to prevent an issue where some folks were getting a DLL error, and there was one other kind of similar related error that people were getting. And so as of late yesterday afternoon, that should be resolved right now. It isn't entirely 100% clear what, like, we never identified the bad server that might have an out-of-date build or something like that. But we did, kind of hit refresh on it, and that seems to have solved the issue. There is a workaround you can do as well related to one bug that I've seen where if you are getting a DX setup error, you can go to the DX setup file either through the command prompt if you know how to do that, or just go through Windows Explorer to the Lotro install folder and run that DX setup there as well. Run it as an administrator. So basically what you'll do is you'll go to that folder, you'll right-click, run as administrator, and that'll solve that issue. So those are the two issues that I know about on the technical side that our technical operations people were working on yesterday. And I know that some of that work should relieve an issue that we had a few people who were just having patch issues yesterday. So I think that's probably what you're talking about. Otherwise, in terms of logging in, that I'm not sure about. I don't believe we had any kind of login queues or something like that yesterday that I'm aware of. So let me know more about that. All right, let me head on over to YouTube or Facebook here. What's going on? At the time that you wrote that, what was going on was I was trying to go live on Twitch. Sorry for being late today. Howdy from Houston. Hey, we have someone from Houston. Well, I had a problem, man. Why can't you solve it? Isn't that what you're there for? No, anyway, I'm sorry. Howdy, how are you? I really can't speak to the EG7 news that's been circulating around the community here. Vesa Waristo over on Facebook. Thank you so much for asking the question. But I have to give it no comment on that. I simply don't have anything I can say related to anything you might have seen in an EG7 investor slide this week. So, we're always working to improve the graphics. We're always working to improve the game. And when we have more news to pass along, we will. All right. When will the 2 quests in Cloven Gap be fixed? I believe the answer to that is next week. So let me go. Let me actually turn down my in-game music a little bit. Sorry about that. My master volume was up a little high now that I'm actually listening to it. Sorry about that. It just adds drama to my voice. Yes. Okay. Sorry, where was I? 2 quests in Cloven Gap. Yes. So let me call up. I am working on some release notes. We have a patch set for next week. And let me see if I've got anything for that. Alright, yeah, so we are working toward an update 31.1 release for next week, something around the middle of next week, and I believe the Cloven Gap fixes will be in there. I can't show you the release notes yet. They're still in process. They're not done yet. Neither is update 51.1, so it's a little bit too early yet. But yes, we do have in Cloven Gap the quest Corrupting the Deserters will now grant the proper reputation and rewards. I also see in the instance the corruption's source intro text in Cloven Gap will no longer be underlined, and the intro name will now display correctly. Okay, that's not it. Where else did I see Cloven Gap? The quest Broken Benches of Danak K, the discovery zone for the park, has been expanded. It will be expanded next week. Thiefy in Cloven Gap will no longer unintentionally sometimes fall through the floor. Oops. Sorry, Thiefy. Cloven Gap Mistwalkers, Nostni, will no longer vanish on players who are working on matters of Hunt and Heart. That sounds like that could be perhaps something related to your question as well. So that's what I see so far as of today for next week's patch related to working Cloven Gap. And that is set for update 51.1 for next week. We have a little bit of PVMP work in there as well, some itemization, bug fixes in there as well, a little bit of housing. The following housing decorations are now correctly classified as furniture and can be placed in a furniture or yard hook housing spot: the purple fungal bush, pink fungal bush, dark green fungal bush, light green fungal bush, pink fungal grass, light green fungal grass. If you've already placed these items in a wall hook, you'll need to remove them and place them in the appropriate furniture or yard hook. And then also, this is the update where we're going to be consolidating small and large yard hooks into a single yard hook type, meaning you don't have to worry about whether it's small or large. You can just put it there. And that is hopefully going to be in next week's patch as well. We have some Yule-themed Hobbit gifts that'll be in next week's patch as well. We do have a few class bugs. I'm not going to go through the list because, like I say, these notes haven't really had a full vetting yet. And then on allegiances, we have some relic trade-up values being adjusted to make it easier to barter for Zelruka Allegiance rewards. And the Zelruka Allegiance panel reward track will now show which levels unlock Allegiance chapter quests. We do have a few other things here as well. So that was one of the things that we're working on now. The reason this is out is this is on Bullroar this week. So I believe it's still on as of the time of this recording. It looks like it should go around 3 o'clock today, so not too much longer, just a few more hours. But that is in there. The other piece that's in update 31.1 that is actually going to be delayed out of 31.1 because it needs a little work. But yesterday's preview on Bull Roarer was our first preview of the new instance. The new 6-person instance, Adkat Zahar. Adkat Zahar. I should have done a pronouncer before I went live on that one. Anyway, the new 6-person instance, the Houses of Rest, is getting a preview up to Tier 3. Now, originally that might have been in 51.1, but instead we're gonna give that just a little bit more time yet. But update 51.1 does have a bunch of bug fixes and such in it, in addition to some changes related to the upcoming Yule Festival, which is happening soon. So anyway, go on to Bull Roar if you'd like to. You still do have a little bit of time to get your feedback. You can take a look at essentially an incomplete, it's not 100% because some things have been added, changed, etc. since this was published. But a version of the release notes that I was just talking about as well is available on the Bull Roar forums for Bull Roar Update 31.1 Beta 1, which closes this afternoon. All right, so speaking of Yuletide Festival, that begins on December 9th. Now, that is, so next Thursday. So by the time we meet again, Yuletide will be here. And it's going to run through January 3rd, 2022. Oh my God, did this year go by quick. Yes, the Yuletide Festival begins next week, 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, and it runs through January 3rd, 2022, being shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern on January 4th. I do want to mention, related to bonuses and events, we have Hobnanigans going through the weekend, now through December 5th. And then also, our Yuletide savings kicked off yesterday. These are special deals. We do one slate of deals per week throughout the month of December. And, Black Friday is still big, but these Yuletide savings ain't nothing either. Like, for example, next week, or as of yesterday through next Thursday, 75% off the Keepsakes of the Grey Mountains bundle. 75% off the Keepsakes of the Grey Mountains bundle. So perhaps you, if you have an interest in that bundle, you should know this. You should know that it's 75% off. Also, 50% off the High Elf, and 35% off Tracery Reclamation Scrolls, and that goes through December 9th. Then we have our regular sales and such as well, but I'm not going to go through that. On the bonus side, we have Hobnanigans going through December 5th, and I could mention this on the bonus side here before I get in game in a little bit too. Belagar, Gwaihir, Siranen have a 20% Virtue XP boost going through December 19th. You're like, wait, what? 3 worlds have a 20% Virtue XP boost? Why don't the rest of the worlds have it? What's going on there? So what's going on there is when Update 31 released, these worlds that are more particularly dependent on our French and German translations had some bugs. And so we were able to get those issues fixed, and we wanted to extend a sort of thank you bonus to help those 3 worlds. So they're going to get 20% Virtue XP. Well, they've already been getting it since 10 a.m. Eastern yesterday, and that's running through December 19th. Now, every world's going to be getting this boost starting on Thursday, December 16th. So basically what we did is we pulled the December 16th Virtue XP boost 2 weeks early for Belagar, Gwaihir, and Siranen. And those 3 worlds get to enjoy a really nice kind of couple of weeks here in terms of Virtue XP. So that's pretty sweet. I guess, what else could I mention on the news here before I kind of just get in game? I'll take one more look at your chat and what have you as well. We do have update 31.0.3 that got released yesterday as well. Of course, people know that. I'm not going to go through the I could say related to Fate of Gundabad. Difficulty tiers 4 and 5 of Den of Pugluk and Assault on Durstrak. I need a class. I need like a week, a homework assignment week where I have to pronounce these things out loud for a week. Den of Pugluk and Assault on Durstrak will become available with update 31.0.3, which, hey, that was yesterday. So now you got tiers 4 and 5 of those two instances. The tiers 4 and 5 chests allow for a single weekly favored pull. Sorry. All right. Still, though, tier 4 or 5. It's going to be pretty hot. All right. How much of a Tolkien fan were I before I actually started working on it? Just curious. Quite a bit. I am not the sort of Tolkien scholar that the Tolkien scholar who you will see after the show is. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge, say, of names, family trees, lore, and what have you. But I have read the books a bunch. I grew up reading The Hobbit. So I read The Hobbit in 5th grade. And then in 6th grade, I read both the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Dragonlance trilogy. And both of those two trilogies, but especially Lord of the Rings, led me to, in part, to my lifelong love of what I do, which is fantasy and geekery and things like that. And at that same time, it all happened simultaneously, right? So I got into D&D. I saw D&D in the early 80s, and I was able to get my parents bought me a set, and I guess it was 83, about 83. And that was the exact formative time, right, where I was reading the D&D books, reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and reading the Dragonlance trilogy, basically all at the same time. Well, I guess Dragonlance was a little later. But Lord of the Rings was 6th grade for me. And I've told this story on the air before, but let me say it again, because I do enjoy a good holiday tale, which is that for those kids out there, Pizza Hut used to do this thing called Book It. And Book It was a way to get lots of families to buy Pizza Hut pizza, but it was also a way to encourage reading, And so the way it would be is that for every, I think it was 100 pages you read. I think it changed over the years, but at this time, it was like every 100 pages you read, you got a Book It stamp. And after so many stamps, you got a free personal pan pizza. And when you were a young child, like I was, the idea of scamming the system was pretty great, especially because I was a high-level reader at that point early. And so I've read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I got so many free pizzas out of that deal. It was great, but I wasn't doing it just for the free pizza. I was doing it because I was getting into D&D, and I was getting into Tolkien, and it was all happening at the same time. And so I've had a love of Tolkien ever since. I've read the trilogy cover to cover 4 or 5 times, something like that. And, I grew up with the Rankin Bass films as one of a relatively small number of fantasy movies that were available to geeks like us in the 80s and 90s, The whole Peter Jackson trilogy and all the fantasy movies that spawned, it's hard to remember maybe now, but back in the day, there was a swing through the 80s of a lot of fantasy movies, but not that many really, all said and done, and not that many good ones either. So things like the Rankin Bass Hobbit and the director's name escapes me unfortunately right now, but the Ralph Bakshi's Return of the King and Lord of the Rings movies were really formative for me in a big way. So sorry to go down memory lane rather than stick with the news here, but I thought it was worth mentioning. And that's really where I come from in terms of Tolkien lore and geekery. On top of that, part of the reason I'm bringing it up is I want to thank Agent Brigman. I recently, I have not had a paper copy of the trilogy for a while now. Back in the day when I was working in radio, I ended up having to sell a bunch of books to make ends meet. And one of the things I got rid of then was my original paperbacks of The Lord of the Rings, which is what I'd used ever since way back in the day. And so Agent Brigman actually had a spare copy, her and her husband had a spare copy of the trilogy lying around and mailed it to me. So I've got a one book now of the trilogy sitting in the living room here, and I'm planning to read it again, cover to cover here in the near future. So there we go. All right. There is no plans, second record, over on YouTube to offer free transfers from Honor. Sorry if you don't like that news, but that is the situation with where it is. All right, let me head back over to Facebook here. Any update on ability to name our carryalls? Nothing to announce. I would imagine that given an opportunity to do that UI work is something we would like to do. So why disable PvP gear in landscape when it's never been done before? Well, part of it is because it's never been done before, and we do have some changes happening on the PVMP front, do we not? We've got Fontus working hard and doing a bunch of things there, and a lot of changes happening. So part of what we're doing is messing around a bit with things and trying to address some kind of long-term concerns and see what works best in this PVMP space. So why we're doing it now is because we feel we need to, and it's a good time to do it. Recognize that it's a pretty big change for some folks, but it's also, as I understand, largely temporary. We have a thing where Lugazag will spawn the appropriate keep commanders when flipped. PVMP armor and jewelry will now be unequipped after leaving the Etten Moors. Cloaks will be disabled at a later date. The reason for that, specifically, is so that we can better separate stat balance between PVMP and PvE. One of the long-term issues, as many PVMP players are aware, is that the PvE game, keeps going and changes happen there that deeply impact PVMP in a way that can be hard to balance around in a way that satisfies both masters, right? So having the ability to have that stuff be unequipped after you leave the Etten Moors means that we can stat it for PVMP without necessarily having to worry quite so much about how it's statted for PvE. And that's the reason for the change. And yeah, it's a big change. But I think once I've recognized there may be a few pieces who are like, but I want to use the thing. But still, this is a design space we're messing with right now, and we'll see what we end up doing there. But the reason for that is really about that PVMP balance long term. We got things in the works. We're actually working on PVMP, are we not? Right? And sometimes that means we've got to rip the Band-Aid off on a few kind of long-term trouble spots. I think this might be one of those. But at the same time, it's pretty good news, I think, not just for PVMP players, but for PvE players, because on the PvE side, that whole PVMP gear balance issue that the gear they acquire there has to be balanced for both, largely goes away. And then so does the idea of having to balance PVMP stats based on the PvE environment. So the upside is pretty significant there. And I think that is probably what Fontus is going for with this work. I don't think, as you say, Scott, I don't think it's going to kill PVMP. And of course, if it does, well, hey, I guess we'll switch it back, right? But I don't think it's going to, because I think what it's going to allow is for a much, much better experience throughout the game here, long term and short term. So I think stick around, give it a shot. We'll see. We'll see. Do I have any news about the bug on tracery carry-alls? Can you please, Funkenflug, remind me what the bug on tracery carry-alls is? I have a tracery carry-all, and it seemed to be working okay for me this week. I didn't recall there was nothing I could think of that went bad on it. Has anyone asked why Twitch is offline? Yes, I don't know why Twitch is offline. I don't know what's going on with Twitch. It just would not let me go live. It kept on giving me an error message, so I'm going to have to deal with it later. First week, I think, ever, I haven't been able to go live on Twitch. All right, another one of the landscape questions asking for a comment. Sorry I didn't get to it earlier. Yes! Mark Wilson, boy, do I have good news for you. Mark Wilson asked, not to get too deep in the weeds, but in the Brawler trait tree, the Fundament Yellow Helper line, all skills have 1 trait point except for Rush, which costs 2 trait points per level. Can we see if that is working as intended? It just so happens... Where did I see that now? Brawler. Classes. Release notes. Update 31.1. Brawler. The trait Rush now costs 1 trait point instead of 2. I wrote that yesterday. So I've got good news for you. We're fixing that. Pizza Hut still does Book It? Wow, that's how old I am. I don't really have any of them around me at the moment. And I haven't done Book It in years. But my son should be doing Book It maybe, huh? Yeah. I'm just checking through Facebook chat. We have a more active chat than usual this week because of Twitch being down, so... All I can really say, Tim, on the tech support side of things, there's a bunch of people who are in a backlog of a CS queue related to password resets. We have had some issues with our technical support system in recent days, and it's led to a bit of a flood of tickets in a way that our already somewhat stressed CS team, is having to weather. All I can really say is that we got your ticket and we're working on it. We got people working on it. And our CS does have a bit of a backlog at the moment, unfortunately. But they're working hard, and we've got people working on it. We've got people ramped up and new bodies coming to the point of answering tickets. So I think we should see some relief there, hopefully, in the near future. When can we buy the expansion with points? I'm going to have to read that from the Gundabad FAQ. When did we say we were going to do Gundabad for points? May. The base edition of Fate of Gundabad will be released for Lotra points in May for $29.95 for the base edition, and Brawler will be available then as well for 1,000 points. The base edition includes the Fate of Gundabad region, missions, and instances only. So, that's that. A shared kin wardrobe. I love the idea. I'm going to have to pass that along at some point here and say, hey, have you ever thought about a shared kin wardrobe? So you can color coordinate. You can color coordinate better. A reminder, though, if we do have some stuff happening next week related to Hobbit gifts, maybe save your gold roll next week, depending on when you usually do it. Wait until after the patch. All right, where am I headed? So I'm trying to head. Here we go. I'm going to Eskil. I have to admit that the area around Aislif here has proven to be a bit of a challenge for this map bad person. I have gotten lost. I've learned to use the elevator in here. in Deepscrave, but I'm still having some difficulty in discovering a couple of quests where I've just really had a challenge here. How are you finding Fate of Gundabad, though? I'm really enjoying the storyline. As you can see on this character, which is largely my stream character, I'm up to 6.4. And then on the other servers, I'm actually with a kinship who's running the whole Legacy of Durin line, so we haven't quite gotten to Gundabad yet. But I've been doing a bunch of non-book questing in these areas here in recent weeks between streams and enjoying it quite a bit. And so I hope you're enjoying it as well. Okay, so we were attacked just over there to the northwest. There were many orcs, more than I could count, and it was my impression they were returning from somewhere. I felt we were not their purpose, though they were satisfied their path crossed with ours. Investigate the site of the attack. Okay. I can do that. The idea of making Mordor Allegiance missions more accessible. You cannot do dailies until you've done almost every Mordor quest. I would say that I don't know that there's going to be an opportunity to do that work in the short term that I'm aware of, but it's a good piece of feedback, and I'm going to be copying it over and passing it along to the people. All right, before I go and take a look at these bloodstains, though, let me actually do one, because that reminded me there was one more bit of news I think I had. Where was it? Where did I put it? Oh, yeah, actually a couple things. We have a change going into place next week related to our tickets as well. And that is that we are moving, this has been a long-term project to move our in-game help UI to a new system. One that is far more robust and standardized and more aligned with the processes that are in place to address those tickets. So next week, don't know the exact date yet, but at some point next week, we're going to be flipping a switch where the in-game help UI will open a ticket in Zendesk, and we're moving over essentially to our help.standingstonegames ticketing system. So if you've ever been to help.standingstonegames.com, that's going to be the experience in-game in terms of the UI. So when you hit escape and hit help, this window's going to open up, and that window's going to take you to help.standingstonegames.com, and from there you will submit your ticket. That means that we're no longer going to have separate siloed ticket tracking and account management systems and just all that junk that's in some ways old legacy hangers on from really back in the Turbine days, just due to ancient systems and that have been used to prop up these things over the years, right? We're fully moving over to help.standingstonegames.com, and it should allow us to much more quickly address your help requests. And it's also going to handle everything from, say, harassment, spam, what have you. All that stuff's going to be through help.standingstonegames.com. So from inside of the game, you'll just see the new UI. We've got the UI given a little bit of a facelift as well. That'll be happening next week. But then from outside of the game, help.standingstonegames.com, you'll be able to track your tickets just from there and what have you. I guess I would say the main thing to remember, though, is that when there is a Standing Stone Games help system account, and when you first submit a ticket through us in the help system, you'll be asked to create a help account if you don't have one. This is not the same as your game account, and it's used by you to track the status of your tickets. So make sure you sign up that help account with a valid email, with a username and password that you remember, so that you can go in and track the status of your tickets after you submit them. Make sure, that you can actually see that stuff. And then in the future, if you want to reference your solved tickets or see the status of current tickets, you'll just go to My Ticket Activity after logging into help.standingstonegames.com. So, kind of a significant change happening there. But for most players, it really doesn't actually matter that much because you're in many cases used to help.standingstonegames.com already. It's just that for a while now we've had that kind of crusty old system in the in-game help UI. That's been doing like conversions and things like that in a way that is just frankly kind of a pain in the butt. And so we're going to be updating it so it all uses the new system here in the future. All right. But there was actually, I thought I could have sworn there was one more bit of information I was going to say, and unfortunately I cannot remember it right now. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I'll remember it. Sorry. Oh, Mordor. Yeah, that's what it was. It was the Mordor. I've got a little bit of a calendar update here that I can give you quick. And that is that, let's see. So middle of next week should be Houses of Rest. On the 9th, Yuletide begins. Oop, looks like I'm being attacked. Can I get back to the game client fast enough? Yes. I had some legendary server news, and I wanted to mention that real quick. And that is, Honor is going to be getting the Grey Mountains, that's level 120, on December 15th. Shadowfax is going to be getting Isengard, that is 75, in early January. Treebeard is going to be getting Moria in early January. And then that's the nearest thing. We've got Honor getting the Grey Mountains on December 15th, Shadowfax getting Isengard on early January, and Treebeard getting Moria in early January. That's what the bit about the one question reminded me of. So in terms of when we could actually do, like, get some Mordor Allegiance missions some love, I would imagine it would be as we got closer to Mordor on perhaps some of those legendary worlds, would be an opportune time to get that work done if we can't get it done earlier. Okay. Oops. Wrong boar. I do that all the time. All right, let's see. Sev said on the stream a couple of months ago that he would follow up with the systems team on unlocking tier 2 to 5 Woe Uggo instances for Treebeard. Is there any update on this? I have seen a sort of ticket in place for it, but I have not seen that work done. So I don't know what else to tell you other than that. Hopefully that's something that we can do in the near future, but I don't have any news to pass along. But I do know that essentially a tracking ticket got put in place to take a look at that work. So, Erebor informations cords. Sorry. I have to leave that a bit of a secret here. It's big news, isn't not, that we got Erebor housing coming soon, but you'll be seeing a preview of that on Bull Roar, I would imagine. I can't really spill any news on it today. Sorry. Alright, back to the quest. 6-4, Eskil ensnared. The bridge is on the way to Jershulot, and we know Eskil did not return to the Bergbeam. I think we could say this of Eskil's fate, it remains uncertain. Maybe he's still alive. Search the northeastern bounds of Deepscrave for further sign of the young novice. Okay. That is further. Okay. So the area I've been having trouble getting to, by the way, is this section here, the scholarly study and the first bounty. I thought it was on the lower level, and I keep going there, but I get turned around a little bit. I've been having some trouble finding that quest. Hopefully I'll be able to get it sorted out here soon. But it's been causing me trouble. fighting some stuff. Oh, by the way, in case you happen to notice, I am level 134 now. So I am doing a little bit of leveling up here. I've got a little bit of gear to sort through, but not too much. I picked up a few traceries that I've been able to slot into my items. They were just basically 131 plus versions of the traceries I already had. Slotted in from 120 to 130, so, you know, slightly updated versions of the traceries there. And so I've been, got a few more there, but for the most part, I don't have a huge amount of new stuff going on with my legendary item yet. Use that. Alright. Gotta love that enhanced XP supply. I know I do. I will say this. We have more information coming. I've got it out for localization before we make the formal announcement, but I think the reward track is going to get pushed out just a little bit further. We need just a little bit more time on that reward track yet. So someone in chat is saying that they've got they need that reward track to show up so they can get their inventory stuff sorted. But I think it's going to be just a little bit yet before we're able to get that reward track to you. Initially, we had hoped to have it ready for 31.1, but it's just not quite there yet. We have just a little bit more work we need to do on it. So the reward track is going to get pushed out just a little bit, just a couple of weeks, I think. Unfortunately. Can't be helped, though. Alright, let me see what else we got in chat that I can talk about. Wow, YouTube is way busier. I guess everyone went to YouTube instead, huh? Alright. Yulefest starts on the 9th? Did I say 51.1? I meant 31.1. So the problem we've gotten into in recent years is that the other game and Lotro have been on each other's backs regarding numbers, but not the same, because DDO's got, you know, they're 20 or some on. So they just got done releasing update 51, and update 52 arrives next week on that side. Meanwhile, update 31 is on the Lotro side. So if I'm multitasking like I was when we had 2 releases on the same day, it can be, unfortunately, if I don't catch myself, I can typo it up and swap numbers on the updates. I hate that I do it occasionally. It looks like sounds like I did it in chat here today. I must have said 51 instead of 31. But that's how that happens, is because it's all literally happening at the same time. It used to be like numerically they were different enough that you didn't really run into that very much. But of late, that hasn't been the case. I think I'm on the wrong level, which I don't like. How do I get back down? Is it down? I need to be down, right? Can we add the Skeghorn Rare Elite Beast as a cosmetic pet? That sounds cool. I guess the question is, do I want to actually take this or not? I think I do, right? Because I actually need to be up and around, I think. Yep. There we are. Is that when I go back around then it's going to connect? Will it not? I think. You did well. Alright, fine. I will take care of you. Are we going to see further Etenwar's changes re Audacity? I don't know about Audacity gear particularly, but I think, yes, we actually are seeing a lot happening on the PVMP side right now, and I would expect to see a little bit more of that happen in the future. It would be fun to take one of those classes someday from Signum U, but I don't have time for that. Are you kidding me? My life is so busy, I don't have time for classes. Okay, this is not the right way to go. This is not the right way to go, even. Alright, well. See, this is what I'm talking about. Deepscrave does have a tendency to get me a little bit lost. However, here is our elevator. So, I think I need to be on the lower level, right? Question mark? Anyone know? 6.4? Ground or middle? Or upper? Alright, let's see. Someone help me out in chat. Tell me which way to go. Also, frustrated about the bridal situation. Yes, some of okay, yeah. On bridals, that is on our to-do work. So, there we go. No one's helping me out in chat. You're going to make me guess. Well, let's try middle here. Why not make separate level maps? So I do think we actually do have a little bit of work that we can do. I agree. That would be nice. Hopefully that's something we can do here in the future. Yep. No? All right. So it must be ground floor. Does Treebeard have a Moria release date yet? Well, didn't I just say that? What do I say? Treebeard, yes. Early January on Moria for Treebeard. Okay. Someone wanted to ask about Legendary Bridals. I don't have a status on update for Legendary Bridals. I apologize. See, this doesn't seem right, though. Would it be? No, that isn't right. I need to go back. So it must be the middle tier, and I just didn't do something right. Yeah, lots of excitement about the visual update that was mentioned in like an investor presentation this week. I don't have anything to announce. No comment is my official comment. Sorry. Can't be helped. Okay, there's nothing over here, right? Yeah, there's nothing. Well, oh. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I'll be fine-ish. Or not. Nope. Or not. Shoot. Maybe I should have not done that. You know, not doing that might have been an option. Just saying. But there we are. So, all right. Mistakes were made, yes. I want to get there. All right. Here we go. Now I'm in the right place, I think. Just around here. Stop. There you go. There we go. No? I mean, I'll take the treasure cache, but that's not it. What in the... Search for northeast... Okay. What am I supposed to be looking for? Seriously? How am I supposed to get in there? Am I on the wrong level? Am I on the wrong level? Or no, I just got to go up. Okay. Alright. I hope you're happy, world designers. You did this to me. No, I'm kidding. Hey, that looks promising. There we go. All right. So speaking of, someone saying I should just go into Stonejaws and do that instead. I actually will be. Remember, I'm doing a couple weeks per land block here to start with here on Gundabad. So although my show is largely a news show more than it is watching me game, I am doing this a couple of weeks in each area, and then I'm probably going to do dailies and what have you. We'll run the instances. I'd even love to try to do the raid when it eventually comes out and such. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We have a little bit of time yet. Cowardly eyes are upon us, watching us from some hiding place. Let us give their bearer a good scare, and he may reveal himself. Unleash a roar. The goblin falls out of hiding. Don't hurt me. Vorhash knows nothing. Wait, I do know something. Hey, I know what that's like. All right.
Let him go. We learned something useful. I do not know much about Fatugronk, the groaning pit.
They have brought the young novice to the groaning pit, the very lowest level of Deepscrave. Let us meet at the base of the berg beam, and then we will decide our next course. Okay, so we're going down. All right. Well, that's cool. That's probably a pretty good place to stop. I can keep running this a little bit off camera, as it were, and see what's up there. That's probably a pretty good place to stop here for the day. Okay, so let me get a good camera angle going a little bit. Regarding housing, can we look at making the waiving of rental fees on premium housing for VIPs also applied to the 4 original houses? No, I don't see us doing any work related to the classic housing really in the near future. I've not heard of any plans to do that. They kind of operate on their own early classic system, and I think it's probably going to stay that way. Do I know when Arias of the Valar will be on sale again? I might. I can't say, though. But it should happen at someday. Someday. Probably not anytime soon, though. All right, so I am caught up on Facebook chat here. Let me get quick caught up on YouTube. Any current plans to make improvements to Brawler? Yes. We will be doing some Brawler class balance work here in the relatively near future. We debuted Brawler knowing that it was going to need some, tweaking like all new classes do. And so I would expect to see us take a look at Brawler DPS and some skill bugs and a few other kind of quality of life issues and things like that. I would expect to see us do some Brawler work in the relatively near future here. I think I'm actually caught up on that as well. And my clock says it's 1 o'clock, so I know that we've got the Tolkien Professor here happening in just a minute. That's over on the Twitch side of things, which I was not able to broadcast live to today. Technical issues prevented me from broadcasting live on Twitch, unfortunately. Hopefully for next week I can get that sorted, or it was probably a short-term Twitch bug of some kind. Either way, thank you very much for watching Court of the Rings. I really do appreciate you being here. Hope you're having fun with Lotro. If you are on 3 of those European, French, German game worlds, hope you're enjoying your Virtue XP boost. All of us have hobnanigans going on, and we have a lot happening in the game and beyond as well. We've got a patch for next week. We had a patch this week. Fate of Gundabad's rolling along. We got tiers 4 and 5 of the instances available and what have you. So hope you're having a great time in the Lord of the Rings Online. And we've got a lot to look forward to with Yuletide and more throughout the month of December. And then, of course, we're into 2022 already. We got a producer's letter that's already being worked on and all sorts of good things that we'll be able to bring you here in the next couple of months. So thank you very much for being here, everyone. And I will see you next Friday for more Court of the Rings. Bye-bye.